Welcome to Musing Maker. I'm Harriet. I've been knitting and crocheting for over 40 years now. This channel is where I come to talk about my various projects, challenges, and works in progress. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a challenge that I actually began in July of 2023, and that's my decision to pursue certification as a Master Handknitter through the Knitting Guild Association. In July of 2023, I decided that I wanted to pursue certification as a Master Handknitter. I'm a self-taught knitter, and so I'd never really had a lot of feedback about my knitting. I'll post a link in the description box down below this video to the Knitting Guild Association in case you're interested, and a link to the Master Handknitter Certification Program in particular. In a previous video, I talked about pursuing and completing level 1 of the certification program. So I started level 2 in fall of 2024, and I've been making slow but steady progress on it. But I've also realized that there are certain aspects of it that I've either been kind of avoiding or setting aside. And so I decided that what I want to do this summer is basically every Wednesday at 4 o'clock post a brief video. And I envision these videos being no more than like 10 or 15 minutes where I talk about the progress that I'm making on level 2 of the Master Handknitter Certification Course. So full disclaimer, these videos are just me working through my process and kind of talking about the challenges that I encounter along the way. And so what I want to do in this video, since it's the first for this summer project that I've envisioned for myself, is to basically sit down and figure out what parts of level 2 I've already completed, what parts of level 2 I still need to be doing, and yeah, kind of think through some of the things, like confront some of the things that I'm pretty sure that I've been avoiding, and talk a little bit about that. Okay, so as part of the certification process for becoming a Master Handknitter, there are kind of several categories of things that you need to do. So obviously there are knitting projects that you need to do. There are also research reports and writing assignments that you need to do, and there are also swatches that you need to do. Okay, so what I've got here are the swatches that I've worked on so far. So for level 2, a lot of the swatches that you can sort of see here have to do with finishing techniques. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to seam a sweater, level 2 might be a challenge for you because there's a lot of focus on ensuring that you become a better finisher and seamer of knitting. There are also lace swatches that you need to do and cabled swatches that you need to do. So you can see those there and there. And so all of these swatches eventually go into a very large loose leaf binder with various pages that you include, information pages and instructions that you include with them. And the reason I've got them kind of scattered out like this is because I learned the hard way doing level 1 that you really don't want to put the swatches into the binder until you're about ready to send and submit the binder itself, because over time the weight of the pages kind of flattens all your swatches out. So this time around, I have everything kind of, and as part of the process, you tag and label things, right? That's why there are all these little tags on everything. And so this time around, I'm keeping everything in a box. One of the things that is happening this time around that also happened the first time around is that I find as I work through the level, you know, and happily, my knitting and my techniques get better. And so now that I kind of pulled some of these out and started looking at some of the finishing work, I'm not sure that these swatches are what I'm going to send in. I have to think that through a little bit more. This happened with me with level 1 as well. I redid some swatches before I sent them in. And then also when you get feedback from the committee that's evaluating your work, a lot of times they'll ask you to rework swatches too. And so that also happened for me for level 1. It's extremely common for it to happen for level 2, so I absolutely expect to have to rework some of these swatches more than once, and it's just something that you kind of have to be okay with and be prepared for. Okay, so I went through to figure out like what I still need to do. And so what I put on here is basically an overview of the things I still need to do. So the thing to kind of keep in mind is that, you know, for each of these items under each of these categories, there are sometimes multiple steps to get to the point of completion. But I just wanted to kind of quickly go over where I am with my own progress on level 2, and then sort of think through what I'd like to get done in the upcoming week. Okay, so first in terms of the writing projects, I'm pulling this so you guys can see it. Again, hope it's not backwards. Basically, I still have to do a history. So you're required to do a history of knitting, and that means I have a bunch of reading still to do. There's a pattern evaluation report that you have to write as well. Still need to do that. There are a total of 18 questions that you need to answer. And so some of those are, you know, they just require a 1-sentence answer. Some of them require longer answers. They're all kind of tied to either the projects or the swatches that you do. And then you also have to do 3 book reviews. And then the projects that you have to do, right, so I mentioned, so there's a Fair Isle wristlet that you have to make, there's an Argyle sock that you need to make, and then there's a vest project that you need to complete as well. And then in terms of the swatches themselves, there are 19 total swatches that you need to work on. And so we'll start by talking about kind of where I'm at with the swatches. So I've actually completed 13 of the swatches, which means that I've got 6 remaining. And the 6 remaining involve working buttonholes, working a pocket, and working a neckline. And so when I look at that, I can kind of see why I completed 13 and then sort of stalled. The other piece of the swatch project that I need to kind of pay attention to is for many of the swatches you have to write instructions for how you crafted the swatch. And so I talked about this when I did the video where I was working through level 1 of the Master Handknitter program. The challenge for me is that, you know, being a writer in my other non-knitting life means that when I knit, and when I write. And so it's been a challenge for me to figure out how to kind of do the writing component, like specifically the writing component that really interacts with the knitting stuff, because I kind of don't like to be writing when I'm trying to knit, although I'm perfectly happy to knit while I'm supposed to be writing. Anyway, I need to do instructions for many of these completed swatches, and I know that in my mind I've been kind of avoiding that, right? So Mark Twain is, you know, famously said, if you eat a frog first thing in the morning, then nothing worse will happen to you all day long. And whenever I hear that, I think, yeah, I think Mark Twain had a pretty good life, because I'm pretty sure I've gone to bed a few nights and thought, gosh, I ate a frog first thing in the morning and the day kind of went downhill from there. But I digress. So the point is, like, you know, Twain is arguing that if there's a particular task that you're consciously avoiding or subconsciously avoiding, you know, prioritize it, do it first thing in the morning, and you'll feel better about yourself the remainder of the day. I know that's true. That doesn't make me more inclined to do it, but that's why I'm doing these updates weekly throughout the summer, because I'll maybe try to do it for you, right, if I won't do it for myself. So that's my hope. So I'm thinking that, yeah, for next week, I'd like to do the instructions, and then I'd like to kind of come over here and start thinking about doing the research for the history. But I'm really trying to hold off on doing the projects until after I've finished the swatches and done a little bit more of the writing. Because one thing that I know from working level 1 is that the projects really build on what you're doing on the swatches. Yeah, so I really like it's a non-issue for me. I am going to complete level 2. That's all there is to it. I will be doing it. It's just a question of making, kind of getting myself over the little speed bump that I seem to have hit right now. I'll see you back here next Wednesday. My goal is to post these videos by 4 p.m. every Wednesday, so work in progress Wednesday, and I'll give you an update on where I'm at.